By the time homecoming come, you'll be able to do push-ups, pull-ups, and anything else you want to do. Your body been healed up. Oh, man. It's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I knew they were there, and I knew I had to get them dealt with. I just wasn't going to get them dealt with this year. I was going to wait till next year. You know, I'm like, that. I just had surgery, man. Why you just didn't do that while you was in there the first time? He's like, I didn't know they were there until I went in there the first time. So, oh, man. So, it's two small ones. So, he was like, you know, it ain't even, he was like, realistically, man, he's like, I could do this and send you home the same day. He's like, but he was like, I might have you stay just because you just had surgery, just to, you know, observe you overnight. And I was like, this is a mess, man. I always want to cut on me, don't you? He mad. That's what it is. He mad and he want to cut on me for no doggone reason. Now, I know it's for my own good. I'm just talking stuff, y'all. I'm just talking stuff. Well, Rodney, that's the same thing he told me. Rodney on YouTube just said something that the same thing that the doctor told me when I went there. He said, look, he said, WB, you need to let me fix these hernias now, or when they drop, no, go ahead and fix these right now, man. I don't ever plan on being on that. Go on and fix these right now. I don't want nothing dropping down in there. I need to keep them functional, player. Go ahead and make it happen, man. Make it happen. Do it right now. Do it. I was like, you can do it today if that's the problem. Oh, man. That's so messed up, though. All right. Let's get back into the show. All right. So, I want to talk a little bit about the two police cases that's going on, and I want to talk about credit. Next, I want to talk about the marijuana stuff. I'm having Nicole Birch call me in. But I want to talk about credit, too, before the marijuana stuff, only because after looking at this and doing more research, I need y'all to get y'all credit straight so y'all can be able to open up dispensaries, because that's one of the qualifications. You gotta have good credit. So I want to work on your credit for you so you can be in a position to open up your own dispensary so you can make some money, get your own business going. So I definitely want to do that today too. But let me talk a little bit about these police cases. You got one in Chicago where we're waiting for the verdict. This is what I personally believe, okay? I believe that they're either going to have a hung jury or not guilty. Now, let me tell you why I'm saying this. I'm saying this because they keep wanting to see the partner's statement. And if they want to keep seeing this partner statement, that's because somebody believes in that room that he could have feared for his life. And if somebody believes in that room he could have feared for his life, if it's just one person, if they hold tight, that's a hung jury. If it's a bunch of people in there feeling like that, he may get a not guilty. Okay? Then you have the case in Florence, South Carolina, where this old 74-year-old white man, he shoots 7 cops, he kills one of them who happens to be black. They're running interference down there for him right now. He negotiated his own surrender. Now, to all my white listeners, this is why black people have an issue with the police. Because just change the scenario. If this was a black man who was in his 70s and had shot 7 cops, do you think he would have got to negotiate his surrender? I mean, just be honest. He wouldn't have got to negotiate his surrender. It would have never happened that way. I mean, even if you just take the most basic thing, Brett Kavanaugh, the way he acted in that hearing. Imagine if a woman would have done that. And then even his op-ed talking when he was apologizing, I was emotional, I was coming in as a dad. A woman couldn't even do that. If a woman did that, they'd be like, she's too emotional to be on the bench. I mean, it's crazy. Now, we come back. I'm going to give you fantasy picks next hour, but when we come back, I'm going to tell you why we really might be in the end days. If you believe in God, what I'm going to tell you is going to make you say, oh my God, we truly, truly, truly might be in the end days. I'll explain when we come back. You're listening to WB.
KGRW 105.7 Buell, Idaho, FM power.
Hand sanitizer, I know they've been saying it all over the media, but, you know, I started off the show talking about that, how the media is saying it, how Justice Stevens has come out and said something. And actually, after the hearing, that was the first thing I said. I said, look, the problem, I said, what the Democrats need to be arguing is what he said about the Clintons and everything else. He's partisan. And that's what they need to be arguing, because you're supposed to be nonpartisan as a judge on the Supreme Court. And now they're making an argument. But if you go back and listen to my show the day after the hearing, that's the first thing I said. The very first thing I said.
KGRW 105.7 Buell, Idaho, FM power.
That's crazy.
Now, I have a lot of interesting, let's call them tidbits. You know, the Kavanaugh thing. Did he really do it? Or was the gal, what the hell's her name, Ford? Did she, I don't know, somehow decide that what she was doing was the right thing? Or was she, and joining into the Me Too movement and kind of firing that back up? You know, I hear from so many women, and I myself recently, albeit on a small level, was involved in such a thing. See, there's this gal over there at Deseret Industries where I work. Sometimes. I don't know about after today. Anyway, so everybody on the loading dock and everything was always teasing the shit out of her. But guess what? I did. Oh my golly. That kind of freaked me out. So she goes to Human Resources there, whatever they are, and says that it disturbed her. Really? Now, I read the entire handbook for employees, and it said, don't do that shit. I firmly agree. It said, don't do that shit. Absolutely don't do that shit. I fully agree. Here's the problem. Everybody else was. Nobody else got their hands spanked, but I did. Why? Now, I went into Dan's office on Tuesday, right? No, yeah, Tuesday. Figuring everything was okay, or what, Monday I said, and he said everything's okay. So we went in there, we had a big-ass fucking powwow. about how we don't do this, how we don't do that, and so on and so forth. And I said, terrific, hallelujah, we'll do it that way. It doesn't matter. Okay? Apparently, it mattered. I'm not saying that sexual harassment or any of that on the job is a good thing. There's an old saying that some of the old timers have always used for I don't know how friggin' long. I really do. I know that there has been. It says simply, you don't dip your pen in the company ink. That means you don't try to hustle the broads that are working for you or working with you. It doesn't work. Now, besides the legality of all this shit, and there's a lot of it, okay, there really is. But outside of the legality parts of this, the big problem that at least I see is that simply it's not uniformly applied. And shouldn't certain attire, clothes, however you want to say it, wardrobe, what she's wearing, whatever. To put it simply, if you're going to be teasing the wild animals inside the cage, don't be sitting there holding out a fucking raw steak and saying, hey, you can't have this. In other words, if women would, they can be still fashionable. They can still look attractive. But do they have to wear a skirt? It's not even hardly a skirt. Just a basic dress shirt over the top of those stretchy yoga pants and some boots. And that's supposed to be okay for wearing at work? To where you can't help but see everything that you need, that is to be seen? And then look at somebody and say, oh, that upsets me. Horseshit. Don't hold it out there for somebody to be sniffing around. My old man used to say, if you ain't got it for sale, don't advertise. But it's okay. Because, see, this is a nice girl. And, okay, so I didn't know the background. And I've heard this so many times from so many women. Oh, just a little while ago, she was raped by somebody that was older than her. And she's going through a time. Okay, I dig that. Excuse me, if you've been raped, do you really has not somebody explained to you that you don't go out there and say, hey, look at my nice little legs, look at my tight little tush, but don't play with it. No, 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 no. There's just so much that you can tease before somebody's going to call your fucking bluff. That's all there is. You don't sit there and keep teasing and teasing and teasing and teasing somebody, whether it's just one person or an entire crew. It doesn't matter. You don't sit there walking around all over the place. And I have yet to figure out exactly what the hell she did there. I never ever saw her do anything. It's kind of like one of the ones we hired. What the hell did she do? Seriously, what did she do? Did she work on the floor over in the retail center? Did she work on the sort center? She sure in the hell wasn't working on the docks. What the hell was she doing there? I never could get a grip on that. Apparently she was only there to work in the small as-is department. Okay? Where was she? And why was she always walking around in the area where there are guys? Was she trolling to find a guy? And then when somebody, although I really wasn't all that interested in that way, but all of a sudden I approach it and I say, hey, this could be cool, and she all of a sudden gets ticked off. So what the hell goes there? Now, that's a simple example, but it happens all over the place in many, many, many industries. It doesn't matter if it's a big-ass computer place like Google or YouTube or Facebook or something like that, or even the corner little itty-bitty restaurant. If women do not want to be hustled, for damn sure, don't make yourself available. And don't make yourself appear available. About the only business that I can see right off the bat or think about that could be worked into to something to be an advantage is simply like a bar or a place where guys are going to drink. Obviously, if you walk into, and I don't care what it is, I don't even care where it is, outside of a bikini bar or a strip bar, which you kind of pretty much know that there's going to be at least somebody up there, although anymore a lot of those don't even look good. I'm sorry, they just don't. But if you're going to be serving drinks and you're going to get enticed guys to stay there and spend $3 or $4 on a beer, when technically he could go down to the store and for about $7 buy a whole damn 24-pack and go home and get wasted and not have to worry about a DUI. But still, in that environment, I could see a woman dressing seductively. Because her job is to attract guys to drink so that somewhere in the whole damn thing, the guy is going to leave her a big tip. And he's going to buy plenty of whatever he's drinking just to be able to sit there and chat with her. This has been a situation that has existed since the dawn of time. Or maybe it was evening. I don't remember what it... Did it ever say in the Bible anywhere that when Eve tempted Adam with the knowledge of the tree, what time of the day it was? I never seen one. I never seen if it said PM or AM. Although I am going to look, and I'll bet you I could find something. More on something on that in a second. So anyway, but here's the thing. Whether it's, and I really do not care, my friends. I really don't care. But if women are not wanting to be approached, if women are not available, if they're happily married and do not want to be hustled at work, then for gosh sakes, dress conservatively and don't sit around and flirt and tease all damn day. Now, there's a big difference of just saying, hi, how are you? Or, that looks good, and then leave it the fuck alone. She goes, does her job, he does his job, everybody's friggin' happy. Or at least supposed to be. In that case, I can understand it. But then don't sit there and buzz around him like a damn fly looking for a bowl of sugar. It ain't gonna work. Somebody, again, I'm going to say this, somebody's going to call the girl on her bluff, or call her bluff. He's going to want to know, hey, can I go out with you? And then when he does, she's going to go to Human Resources, whatever company that it happens to be, or the boss, if they don't have a separate Human Resources department, and she'll complain that somebody asked her out. Then the guy's going to get brought into the office, he's going to get told to sit down, and then all of a sudden you're going to have two fat guys that don't know shit sit there grilling his ass. Excuse me. I don't care what it is. Now, there are probably some exceptions. I do agree with that. There are some people, some guys that force themselves on some women. I understand that that happens. I'm talking, generally speaking, in the workforce, that a lot of this Me Too bullshit enters in on. And it's simply, if you don't want to be messed with, don't ask for it. Just greet the person. If you want to be friends, say you want to be friends. If you're in the break room or whatever and you're having a cup of coffee or something to eat or whatever, leave it that way. Don't start throwing out signals that there might be a maybe something that could start. And then a guy is not going to all of a sudden go, I wonder what it'd be like to take that around the block. You see what I'm saying, folks? Now, with Kavanaugh, thank goodness he got through with his confirmation. Now he's a judge with the Supreme Court. That's over with. At least the confirmation thing. Just today, Trump's old lady, Obama's old lady, both in opposite, well, basically the same verbiage, just kind of a little bit different, if you could say that. And this is supposed to be a good thing? It just isn't. 1954 hours in your evening. It is a Thursday night. RebelHazzardAyre Radio for like I said, it is a Thursday. I was supposed to go into work today, and I've been trying to go through some shit in my head. Okay? John Snyder, on one of his interviews about the Dukes, said simply that sometimes you can do all the right things for the wrong reasons. Our radio gig here has been, for what, a year and a half now, almost 2 years, was upended when I stupidly believed something that I read in the newspaper, which is 99.9% of the reason why I will not subscribe to the slime news of Twin Falls, Idaho. I don't care. 2 times since then I have went in there and tried to get a little bit of press ink on the show and on the station. What I've done is I've sat down, I've talked to somebody for hours upon hours, and yet the outcome is nobody calls back. The last time that I went in there, and there is something to this, okay? Very much so. I walked in there and I wanted to talk to somebody in sales. I wanted to get a little ad thing buzz in there and then maybe get some editorial on it to enhance the photo and at least the print ad. Saying this is where we're at, this is what we do, tune in. Okay. So instead of assigning me some guy that might be able to handle the damn thing, or some older lady that probably I would have just said hello to and got the fuck out of there, what I got was this little filly in there. I guess she had started, she was there for she had already been there for maybe 2-3 weeks, going to school, doing this part-time to make some extra bucks. Okay, we understand that. I sat in there for probably, I don't know, 4 hours or so. You know what? I'm still waiting for the phone call back. Now, how it relates to what I opened the show with is this. She made sure, okay, that her ass, just like a cat when it wants something, was in my face on a continuous basis. Now, if you think it's just in media and in industry that this kind of discrimination is going on, and it is against men, it is not against women, I've got news for you. The other night, there's a group or a personal blog or a page or a something. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. Okay? It's on Facebook. Barely Legal 2000s. In other words, it's people that were born in the year 2000 or so that are just barely legal to vote. That's what I guess it's called. Here's this gal that gets up there and she's showing off her ass, her belly, her breasts, everything. And she had so much thin stuff that you really could see nipple. You really could see nipple. I'm surprised she didn't just spread her legs and you could see through right to her tush. Her BJJ. Now, here's my problem with this. And I suppose it would be too much of a thing for Facebook to do this. But I know on a lot of things there is an age restriction on who or what can go in there and take a look-see. And even then it probably ain't going to do no good because the kid's going to figure his way around it anyway. But here's the deal. Let's suppose that some young kid, I don't know for whatever reason he would, but let's say that he decides somewhere to go look at that page or that group. And all he sees is sexual innuendo, and all he sees is somebody finger banging themselves or whatever, and that is supposed to be okay. Now, technically it probably wouldn't damage anybody, but it's going to give that kid a hell of a lot of different ideas. And somewhere, somehow, that image is going to trigger an emotional response in his future to where he does cause a sexual assault. With that said, I simply keyed the damn page up. I said, Facebook, this is not right. Almost 3 to 4 days went by. Guess what? Get a notice from Facebook in my email. It says, we've reviewed the content of this here page and you can block this person, but guess what? It doesn't violate our community standards. Really? Has the problems that Mark Zuckerberg, over all the election stuff and all the technical goof-ups and all that stuff, is so hungry for cash and at least trying to retain the people, or at least subscribers, to the page to where they'll stay on it longer, where you can actually sell an ad or two? Have we got to that problem? Have we got to that point? Has Facebook got to the point where they are so hungry for people to be there and to be on the page that they ignore the fact that they are rapidly becoming a porn site? Now, a lot of this porn and a lot of these pictures are hidden inside other groups and in pages and in picture galleries and all kinds of things. Now, if you go look at any of the ones that we put up as a club, the only thing you're going to see is a bunch of legs and feet and trucks. Yeah, it's sexy and stuff, but you don't see any bare ass, you don't see any bare breasts, and you sure in the hell don't see any tush. None. What do you see there? You see trucks, you see gals in stockings and pantyhose and such and low leggy shit, but that's all you see. It's not something that's going to reach up and slap somebody up the fucking head and make them pissed off to where they don't want to even so much as remotely go there anymore. And yet, we have these ones, and it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, mechanics do it better, diesel mechanics only. I don't know how many others that are up there. Just to bring somebody to the page, they'll put up a picture of somebody that's probably, that picture's been farmed from someplace, but they put it up there. And doesn't Facebook and all them people worry about copyright violations? I know YouTube, if you put a damn song up there, any kind of a song, and you don't have rights to play that, that son of a bitch is kaput. They freeze it. They eliminate it. They screen it. They send you a copyright violation thing and say, you can't do that. Now, a lot of times they'll let shit go. But every once in a while, you'll find somebody that's pretty damn serious about having that content removed. Or at least muted or something where somebody isn't listening or doing something where somebody can make $1 off it. Although we have never made $1 off YouTube. I guess we should, but we haven't. But here's the deal. Why is it that these violations of these women showing up on these pages is okay. But if a guy puts up a picture of him or another guy on there, and if his ass is bare or his legs are bare or his chest is bare, and heaven help if his tallywhacker's showing, or some weird ass shit, his stuff will be removed. He'll go into what they call Facebook jail or suspended service, to where he only sees it barely enough of what he ever posted up there, but not everything. But the guy makes a violation. Shouldn't the damn community standards or the TOS, or terms of service, shouldn't that be uniformly applied? Or is it that there's somebody sitting in Palo Alto somewhere going, hey, that looks pretty nice, man. I'll allow that because I want to find out who it is and go play with it. Really? This is how this does? I'm sorry, that's not right. If you're going to have a rule, make it to where it applies to everybody, with only a varying degree of any kind of modification. And make it so damn remote, and it has to be a one of, and it has to be to where, yeah, it's got to be awful damn important to be included, otherwise forget it. But this is supposed to be okay. Really? That's supposed to be okay. No, I'm sorry. It is not okay. So, Kavanaugh gets approved. All Me Too people are all of a sudden shouting, oh my God, he got away with it and all that shit. The question again becomes, did he do it? Or was it some gal that just all of a sudden wanted to make a name for herself, sell a fucking book or something, and then all of a sudden say, well, I don't really kind of remember what happened. But yet she's gotten, I don't know how much money worth of, what do you want to call it? Press ink and video and TV time. Try buying that much stuff. It'll cost you up the wazoo. And this is supposed to be good? It's time for male corpuscles in this nation, before we are overrun to where we become just subservient and have to sit at home. We're going to be the ones that sit at home taking care of the kids, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, and only being there to have somebody to be a sex toy that doesn't have to have batteries. Period. We're going to be nothing. We're going to be left being nothing more than a dadgum sperm donor, and only when she wants to. If we don't stand up and defend the male gender. And I'm not talking about these LGBT people. Nothing I get, well, I have a lot against it. Simply due to the fact that it goes against every single religious anything that I have ever known. I'm sorry, it does. It's not meant to be. When God designed man and woman, if he was designing people to be mating with the same gender, as well as the opposite gender, he would have given us two sets of sexual apparatuses. As it is now, we only have one. Guy has a prick, woman has a puss, you put them together, you have babies. Procreation is what they call it, or having babies. That's what it's for. Now, granted, I have nothing against somebody trying to find super pleasure, getting together and getting stinky and kinky and everything else. I'm all for it. When somebody can get it. Hell, I haven't had it for 20 years. I'm serious. Even with all the foot kissing and the model work and everything else that I've done, I have yet to find one of them that'll actually say, well, you know, since you've been so nice to me, how about I do this for you? I have yet to find that. None of them have. Be kind of nice, but it's never happened. But yet, if a guy approached that situation and really took advantage of it, you remove all objectivity of the situation. And you put yourself in a very legal box. Because all you've got to do, whether you did it or not, and the thing with Kavanaugh proves it, all you've got to do is start making money. I don't care if you're going to be a Supreme Court judge. I don't care if you're going to be a rock star, a country music star, a major media somebody, an actor, or some sort of a performer or somebody that is making some serious bucks. Guaranteed. If you ding some chick just because you want to ding them, somewhere when all of a sudden you're making some serious bread and you're actually starting to make a name for yourself, that gal's going to come out of the woodwork, especially if you told her to take a hike. And guess what's going to happen? She's going to go to some high-priced son of a bitch, an attorney, and file a friggin' lawsuit, and you're going to have to answer to that, whether you did anything or not. Whether you did anything or not. Why do you think in so many other radio stations and such that there are cameras everywhere and a continuous video block going? So that somewhere down the line somebody can't come back and say, Glenn Beck or this person or that person, although they have here lately. Hell, they ruined Bill O'Reilly's career with it. I don't know how many other people got hammered with it. And if you notice that a lot of the people that was real hot and making a real name and a bunch of money on their own during the elections and whatnot are no longer or very seldom visible. I'm serious. Commentators that were all through the election are no longer there. Everybody was telling us don't vote for Trump, forget Hillary, blah blah blah. And I still say that's a bunch of horse shit. The only reason that I voted for Trump is he was the lesser of two evils. I didn't believe either one of the bastards. I haven't believed a politician going back to Washington, D.C. yet, and I don't care where he's from or who he is. I really don't. And we've got two that are associates of the Knights. And they're back there. But that doesn't mean that I believe a damn thing that they're saying that they're going to try to do back there. And even if they do. And a lot of people do blame the president for a lot of shit. When after all, it really isn't always his fault. Okay? It really isn't. We'll be back right after this. About sexual harassment on the job. I really was. And so, you get into all these different things, and like I said, at some time, if you dink with somebody, somewhere along the line, especially at whatever you're doing that she was involved in, okay, if she really wants to, she can make your life so damn miserable that you're not going to be able to see straight. Now, what do I mean by that? I'll tell you. The woman can later on claim that you raped her or that you took advantage of her. And that's one part of it. Now let's say that at some point she says, oh my goodness, I have some sort of venereal disease. Anything. I mean anything. Guess what she does? She goes to her gynecologist. Guy sits there and does it. Okay, and we got the spoon, and then okay, we're looking at this, we're looking at that. Okay, and we got, and all of a sudden he comes back and says, "Hey, you got this." More than likely, whoever you slept with also was the carrier, or you gave it to them. Now all of a sudden, all over social media, there is a thing that goes out that says such and such radio rock star, whatever, did this to me. Would you please have yourself checked? Well, your damn reputation just went into the toilet. And it only takes some little itty bitty thing, too. What was that gal that was on Tommy Lahren, okay? When she came on the scene from Fox News over to Glenn Beck's network and was making a pretty good celebrity out of herself during the elections. Later on, she went on The View. Now, I don't care, Rosie O'Donnell, Barbara Walters, and a bunch of people that are fucking ugly anyway. Okay, they all are. It doesn't matter. Every damn person on there is fat and ugly. Or old. Hell, Barbara Walters has got more damn veins or stretch marks than you can imagine. She looks like a basketball. I'm serious. He looks like he's got a back, or even worse. I've seen toads that's got better looks. guess what happens? So here's what happens. All of a sudden, your reputation is gone. Now, Tommy Lahren goes on to view, and like I said, goes on with all those stupid-ass women. And that red-headed one, what the fuck's her name? Anyway, she was talking to her about how she felt about abortion. I think her child, or Planned Parenthood or something like that. Basically, Tommy has said what everybody else that has any kind of a brain has always said. She didn't say that she was for abortion. She didn't say she was against abortion. What she said was simply that the government, the United States government, had no frigging damn business telling a woman what the hell she could or can't do with her body. Moreover, the government funding contraceptives, whether it be rubbers or IUDs, any of that, or the pill, what she said is the government ought to get out of people's sex lives, get out of their bedroom. That's what she said. But all of a sudden, it's all over the media that she said something wrong. Boom. She's out of that place, and she's off Glenn Beck's show, and she actually went into somewhat of a depression, and she was in a bad way. I heard that she had to break up with that Navy guy that she was going with, and now basically her sole thing of a survival outside of a few guest spots on Fox News every once in a while is pretty much going around doing lectures. Excuse me, Tommy Lahren is one good-looking lady, and she's got a brain underneath that blonde hair, and it works well. But she said the wrong thing in public, on a stupid talk show. But it can happen to a guy, a politician, any kind of a celebrity of any sort, anyhow, any place. You go messing with a woman somewhere, any woman, and all she's got, and then once you start making some serious dough, and all of a sudden you become somewhat of a staple in media, or where she thinks that, hey, there's some real dollars here, to where she can go find herself a friggin' sugar daddy. Guess what? She's in the fucking media. And she calls somebody, and some high-priced attorney calls you into somewhere, and you have to go through a hearing. You might get imprisoned, and get put in jail at least. And all kinds of shit goes on, and all of a sudden, whatever career that you had goes right into the toilet. Kafloosh. Is this right? This is why I'm saying, guys, it's time. It's time to stand up for men's rights. Now, the other night, I was doing some research, and I got to thinking about something here, which directly relates. Back in, I think 2004, 2003, somewhere, Pamela Anderson from Baywatch, that's pretty much where everybody knew her from. Spike Lee, who she was going with, somebody she had come up or had penciled together some sort of a detective show, television show, episodic. That means it's done by episode. Anyway, and the idea was that it was a stripper or something by night and a detective or something during the day, or vice versa. I can't remember exactly what it was because it was so damn boring and so poorly done that it wasn't even worth it. But nobody would buy it. No network wanted to take it on. Gaylord Broadcasting was trying to dump TNN, or the Nashville Network, which I think was stupid. But anyway, they were trying to dump it. So Spike Lee bought the thing simply for the purpose to air Pamela Anderson's show. But he did something that was kind of good as well. He decided to make the thing a network for men. No tampon commercials, no dress commercials, no women's cosmetic commercials, no makeup commercials. It was for guys. Finally, here was a network that advertised things to cure jock itch, to take care of your sweaty feet, to buy your socks, to buy your suits, to buy your car parts. Here was a decent network. Now, out of that, and I don't really know how accurate it was, but a lot of it was, because I've applied some of the, well, what do you want to call it, the things that are involved. But here was a network that was decent, and they fostered, or they gave birth to, a show called Mansers. Now, Mansers kind of was went over the head a little bit, but they talked about things that men were curious about, but were too damn scared to ask somebody about. Like, can you fart so hard that your balls explode? Can you take a shit so bad that all of a sudden you have a heart attack on the throne? Can you get your old lady to shut up and quit being so damn bitchy? What to do if you're hanging around blondes? Does that really make your intelligence level go down? And are blondes really stupid? That's a subject for a different night. But here was all these topics on Mansers. The minute that Viacom really enforced and invaded the thing, all of a sudden Mansers disappeared. And I don't know which episode caused the problem or whatever, but it was a decent show. All of a sudden, you actually had somebody saying, hey, this is what this is. So now what do you do, Jose? What do you do? Anyway, want to say hello to all my people out at all on the Facebook page, All for Fun, Liz, and all the people on there, Aubrey and Christy, and all kinds of people there. You're doing a pretty good job. I like the page. It actually has some benefit to it. Anyway, I had a blast on it the other night. I was sitting there and finally it was nice to actually have, without a lot of over-the-top sex shit, finally there was a page on there that I could actually have an intelligent conversation. And it didn't matter that it happened to be female, pretty much, which is kind of another part of this here conversation that I want to have too. But anyway, which kind of relates to what I was just saying. All of a sudden, Spike and Mansers was a thing for guys. Talking about guys' issues, what we thought, what we wanted to look at. Here was something that could entertain a man. Instead of having all these soap operas and all this crap. To hell with Phil, Dr. Phil, and Maury Povich, and Oprah, and all these other bullshit things. You know, that's what's ruined a lot of friggin' marriages. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some places that some of that shit shouldn't come out. But here's the thing. You get a lot of these people on there, and they're out here trying to make a buck, so they will dredge up shit about a guy who supposedly did something weird to some woman. And it's, well, how do you know you didn't do it? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? But that guy's trying to make some fucking ratings so he can sell advertising, so he can afford that, you know. Anyway, we'll have the high-performance version of Rebel Radio coming on at 9 o'clock tonight until about 3. Got to go over and pick up my check tomorrow. There's a lot of issues, and I'll be talking about them tomorrow. But anyway, in the meantime, stay tuned for that. You can find us at www.spreaker, SPREAKER.com/AYREWOLF. And you'll find us there, along with the over-the-air versions on KSOA, KCPX, and here on KTOW. Until then, hey, take her easy for a little bit, okay?
folks. Thank you for watching.
Inside your radio, or wherever you happen to be, where you're listening to me, your podcast, your iPod, your iPad. I still say an iPad reminds me of somebody calling something a feminine hygiene product. Anyway, hey, get your fingers out of that. That's stinky. P.U. Anyway, good evening, everybody. It is Rebel Radio for like I said, it's a Thursday headed into a Friday. Friday's going to be payday. I don't expect much from that outfit over there in Twin. I'm sorry. $7 an hour to stand outside and freeze my ass off and lift heavy shit and then bunk myself in the head several times and lose my britches. Ain't enough money there. Anyway, welcome in. Yes, it is Rebel Radio, brought to you by Hazard County Choppers. Hey, let us put something exciting between your legs. By Highway Hooker Towing. Hey, our hookers have class. By Karen's Diner, downtown Ogden. The best darn vittles you ever flapped a lip over. Ah, yes, Rebel Radio. It is KTOW. KCPX, bringing it to you, baby.
All alone, God takes your soul. You're on your own. The crow flies straight, a perfect line. On the devil's bed until you die. Gotta look this line.
First time I read Emma Goldman wasn't in a book. I was 16, hiking near the Nevada border. The quote was painted on a wall in red. When I saw those words, it was like someone ripped them from the inside of my head.
Anarchism stands for liberation of the human mind from the dominion of religion, liberation of the human body from the dominion of property, liberation from shackles and the restraint of government. It stands for social order, based on the free grouping of individuals.
The concept was pure, simple, true. It inspired me, lit a rebellious fire. But ultimately, I learned the lesson that Goldman, Proudhon, and the others learned, that true freedom requires sacrifice and pain. Most human beings only think they want freedom. In truth, they yearn for the bondage of social order, rigid laws, materialism. The only freedom man really wants is the freedom to be comfortable.
Oh, man.
brought to you in living color on NBC.
Just a good old boys, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straightening the curves, flattening the hills. Someday the mountain might get them, but the law never will. Making their way the only way they know how. Well, that's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Making their way the only way they know how. Well, that's just a little bit more than the law will allow. I'm just a good old boy. You know my mama loves me, but you don't understand. They keep her showing my hands and not my face on TV. Just a good old boy. Wouldn't change if they could. Fighting the system like two modern day Robin Hood. Ow!
I want to talk to you for a second about failure. Ooh, failure. I don't want to hear about failure. Well, guess what? I'm going to talk about it just for a moment here. Do you know that failure is not something that happens to you? Failure is a choice. Failure is a choice that you make when you stop going after your goal. Now, it's not made all the time all by yourself. Sometimes you've got enemies trying to help you make that choice. Sometimes you've got loved ones trying to help you make that choice. Sometimes you've got voices in your head saying, you can't, you can't, you can't. Well, remember we were talking about how the closer you get to your goal, the harder it's going to be? Well, that's still true. But do not make the choice to quit. Do not make the choice to fail. If you do, do not blame it on other people, and pick it up today. If you were on your way somewhere and you decided to quit and you have called that failure, then what I want you to do today is I want you to pick that ball back up and start running with it again. Why? Because you have a design. There is something that you are supposed to do. You need to be doing it. Failure, not something that happens. Failure is a choice that you don't want to make.
Just a swingin', just a swingin', 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 swingin'.
Breaker 1-9, a CBT, hitting me back one time. Sheridan Low sheet, no deep energy. Roscoe's out on the creek. The two boys are jumping the general lead. The mountain might get them eventually, but not Roscoe, cause he's minimally trying to charge more look criminally. That Daisy Duke is the original hit chick. Enos can't stop looking at her lipstick. Women Jenny's on the jukebox singing, see the whole boy's nest.
Just a swingin', and just a swingin', and just a swingin', and just a swingin'.
The good boy boys are evading the laws. Boss hogs filling his jaws. Daisy's hips making your pals. Chill, clap it with a said, ooh, dog. Hands to yourself, don't handle no lines. Some dude trying to get from behind. Daisy turned and busted up his nose. The dude fell into a girl that was dancing with both. Ding, 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 it's the prom for a doll. Inside the boys' dance, roadside dance hall. Cooter was a ducking on the coat, beer slinging. Nothing but hips and fears.
Just a sliding in. Just a sliding in. Just a sliding in. Just a sliding in.
Look away while I'm whistling Dixie. Daisy's hotter than June in Mississippi. Girls raised in the South, we like red. Follow the bouncing hill.
And just a sliding in. And just a sliding in. And just a sliding in. And just a sliding in.
A bad day. Kind of shook me up. Made me wonder. Am I doing the right thing? I mean, is it worth it if I get expelled? Or if it messes things up with a guy I like? I don't know. But I do know that there will be people out there who try and take things away from us. Things bigger than prom. And we can just sit back and watch it happen, or we can stand up for ourselves. I mean, we all deserve to dance to our own playlists, no matter what Marino or anyone else has to say about it. Oh, one more thing. I know a lot of you guys want to vote me queen to find out who I am. I don't need that crown. But Stacey DeBane, she kind of really does. Just keep that in mind when you vote.
Stacy!
There you are. I've been dying to show you this bow tie I found for you to wear tomorrow. It perfectly matches my dress. How cute is that?
Stacy!
Yeah.
I know what you did to Tara. Audrey told me.
What are you talking about?
The closet. Don't bother denying it. I have a witness. What did Tara ever do to you?
You don't know her, Gavin. She's not who you think she is.
No, Stacy. You're not who I thought you were. I can't go to Mork with you. I'm sorry.
But we're gonna be king and queen.
I don't want to be king. I never did.
To the point, where's Radio Rebel? Oh, my true love shall be revealed. How do I look? A little green, could be the lighting, or something worse. We're standing in a microbial hot spot right now. Wow.
Hey, you look amazing! Thank you! Have you seen Gavin? I really should talk to him. Wait, what are you gonna say? I don't know. You mean you haven't? Not yet. You know you need to.
Are we missing something?
Conference now. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out. Just breathe.
The biggest entrepreneur platform on the planet. This is Business Business Rock Stars. I'm Alex Woolley, and this is Business Rock Stars. And today's rock star, Mike Whitmire. He's the co-founder and CEO of Flowcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so start out by telling us, what is Flowcast?
Flowcast is closed management software. So we're software that's built by accountants for accountants, and our goal is to help teams close the books faster and more accurately.
And you know that this is a really great solution for accountants because you used to be one yourself, and so you were very familiar with those pain points. So tell me about some of those experiences leading up to creating this company.
Yeah, despite being, kind of a nerdy accounting space, it's certainly near and dear to my heart and a pain point I was dealing with. So started off my career as an auditor, kind of learning the ropes on the accounting side, really working with businesses and entertainment companies here in Los Angeles. So got my feet wet in that, and then decided to hop out of audit and actually move into the accounting world. Moved over to a software company. Noticed we had a lot of pain points around this very kind of specific process that we went through every month. And I realized that there should be a better way to do this, and wanted to build some software to help with that problem. And just kind of had the light bulb moment. One day in a status update meeting was where it occurred. Thought about it for a couple weeks, did some market research, and just jumped ship from there and decided to start Flowcast.
So what were some of the biggest problems that you encountered that you now have solutions for?
It was, for us, we were a fairly large team, and we were growing really quickly. So when I joined, there were about 5 of us on the team, and over the course of 3 years, we scaled up to 50 within the department. And when you're growing like that, a lot of things are changing within your business, within your department, and so we had a really simple problem of just kind of herding the cats and keeping everyone on the same page. And with that, there's not a ton of accountability or visibility with what your team and your employees are doing. So our software comes in and adds a layer of collaboration and accountability and visibility so you can understand how your team's working.
That's great. And obviously, working for another company versus owning your own is a big difference. Yeah. So what inspired you to want to become an entrepreneur?
I've always wanted to since I was a kid. I did take start a career because I wanted to learn the ropes and kind of see what the real business world was like before jumping ship and doing my own thing. But the inspiration actually started really young from both of my parents. My dad was a tax attorney and then left that field and started a couple of his own businesses as an entrepreneur. But my mom really was the main inspiration. So when we were younger, when I was younger, I think my parents got divorced around 8 or 9, and she decided that she needed to pay the bills, but also wanted flexibility to be able to help see her kids grow and see what life was like from there. And I remember being 9 and actually sitting at Wells Fargo and watching her close the small business loan for her to start her own CPA firm. So she opened up a CPA firm, started providing bookkeeping, accounting, business operations advice to different people. And that was back in '93. And so she's now still running that business, was able to support 3 kids, raise a family, and never miss a sporting event, never miss a recital or anything like that. So that was
story. That's so sweet. So what are some of the main things you learned from watching her be an entrepreneur while you grew up?
Well, one is that she is pretty much on call around the clock. You as much as you do have flexibility, it is your entire life. That's what you do, and so it takes up a lot of time. And it's a grind. She's a very hard worker. It took her a while to build up the practice and get it to the point where was operating smoothly and making a good revenue stream. So just I think the amount of work and effort that goes into doing that, seeing her do that during my childhood was really impressive, and just sets the tone of like, hey, this is not easy. When you start a company, it's going to be like this, and true form, that is exactly how it's been so far.
And it teaches you work ethic, so now you gotta work hard and get things done.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was great.
So when you did decide that you wanted to start this business, what were a few of the first steps that you had to take?
So my first steps were, I was founding an enterprise software company, and so I knew that I had to have some kind of legitimate funding behind me. It's very hard for someone like myself to just go and sell to a company and say, hey, I'm one guy with a piece of software, would you like to buy from me? No legitimate business is going to do that. So for me, step one was raising a little bit of money. To do that, I had to find a co-founder. That was step one, and so I knew no one in the tech community or the development world or anything, but I needed a co-founder to build the first version of our product. So to do that, I actually used like a founder dating website. It's legitimately called founderdating.com. I think there used to be cofounderslab.com at the time, so a little less obvious.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's basically literally you post a profile, here's what I do, here's what I want to do.
Do you swipe right?
No, I'm sure they might have evolved to that. They've had 3 years of development since then. They very well could have. But yeah, we met through that. I talked to maybe like 30 or 40 different candidates, and my co-founder Colin Zanstra and I ended up syncing up and just really enjoy working together, through the early phases, had some meetings, and then he and I applied to an incubator program here in Los Angeles, and we got accepted a couple months after we had met.
How do you date, your possible co-founder to make sure they are a good fit to start this really big venture?
Yeah. Well, I think something that I just realized probably like 18 months ago, which is 18 months into starting my company, is that entrepreneurship is just sales over and over again. It's selling everything. It's selling yourself, your business, your product. And so I approached it like a sales cycle. So I go onto founderdating.com, start searching around a bunch of profiles. I have my spreadsheet open where I'm tracking, hey, who's going to be a good fit for me, who's not. I get it down to 40 candidates I thought would be a good fit. Came up with a message, crafted one message, generic, and just started blasting that out to everyone. Of the 40, I got responses from about 30. Had coffee or lunch with all 30, and then decided, if they thought the market was a good fit, if we thought we'd be a good fit to work together. And after meeting with all those people, it became very clear that Colin was the guy I wanted to work with.
Wow, okay, so you had your co-founder, and then what was the next step after that?
So the next step after that was we had to build a product and get our first customer. And so Colin built the first iteration of the product all on his own. It was pretty amazing. I got our first client from there. It's actually a skincare company here in Burbank. They're called Is Clinical. They make kind of fancy dermatology level skincare products. And so once I had gotten a co-founder, a product, and a customer, then I went down to Amplify and did my formal pitch. I got the suit on and everything and was pitching all the partners.
And that was the incubator?
That's the incubator down in Venice.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like, working in that setting?
Working in that setting was really cool. So Amplify was a kind of a unique experience for us, I think, because we were a B2B company. They're very helpful for consumer apps. They know that space really well. They're able to help you with, product design, marketing, kind of those areas. Accounting, not so much. That's kind of our expertise. So where Amplify really came into play was with investor network and introductions. We have an incredible network of kind of Series A or B stage venture capitalists. And so we leverage that really heavily to help raise our next round.
So who would you say that route is for and maybe not for?
I think the Amplify route, or the incubator in general, is...
Incubator in general, yeah.
Yeah, just really, I think anyone who does have ambitions of becoming a VC-backed company, a venture capital, backed company, that's a great stepping stone to get into that world. If you're not, if your goal is, hey, I want to start a company, get it cash flow positive, and have a lifestyle business from thereafter, it's probably not the best fit. But if you're in the tech scene and really looking to kind of go big with something, that's where I think you kind of need to be. You don't need to be there, but it certainly gives you a big leg up if you're coming out of a program.
Now, tech companies and startups have mixed notions on business plans. So what is your philosophy on the business plan?
I am not a fan of business plans. I think a PowerPoint presentation can summarize your thoughts on it, in enough detail to where an investor can follow your thought pattern and what you want to do with the company. Everything changes so much that kind of getting a plan in place it's a lot of time to do that, and then it's silly to think it's not going to evolve over time. We've had evolution with our business model, and so if I had to go back and every quarter update my business plan, it would just not be a good use of time. And so I have a PowerPoint to kind of keep the train on the tracks and make sure we're going in the right direction and doing what we need to do, but you need to be agile kind of within that thought pattern.
Makes sense. Awesome. We'll be right back with my guest, Mike Whitmire. He is the co-founder and CEO of Flowcast.
Hey, have you ever thought to yourself, I would like to become an entrepreneur? You can join one of the largest communities on the planet now, free. Go to cofounderslab.com. Cofounderslab.com. That's cofounderslab.com.
KGRW 105.7 101.7 Blue Idaho
My guest is Michael Whitmire. He is the co-founder and CEO of Flowcast. And Mike, you were telling me that you make a PowerPoint when you approach investors. What do you include on that PowerPoint that's proven to be very helpful information for them?
So I think I've done a ton of research, Googling, talking to investors about what they like to see on a PowerPoint, and there are pieces of information that are really important. So, who's on your team, what's the market opportunity you're looking at, what do you actually do, and why do you do it? And then if you do have financial information or numbers, presenting that is really important, and then competitive information as well. But I think what I learned in putting pitch decks together is that it's more about telling a story and a narrative about, hey, here's where we came from, here's why we're doing this, here's what we've done, and here's what we're going to do. That's really kind of how I started to think about pitch decks after doing this a few times. It's not about data points, it's about the narrative and the story and evolution of your company, and then getting investors to buy into where you're going is what you're trying to position. So to me, it was making that switch in my style really helped out from a fundraising perspective. And then the other one is the most important thing to investors is market validation. And so for us, once we started having customer feedback, customer surveys, satisfaction scores come back, we started being able to quantify exactly how happy our customers were. Not to brag, but we have some very happy customers, and so our ratings are kind of off the charts. And as soon as I got,
great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You're allowed to brag.
Great. So our customers are amazing as well, but we put up really high numbers, and as soon as I got to put that number into my narrative, that was actually really the turning point for me from fundraising. And as soon as we did that, term sheets just kind of started coming in all over the place.
So when it came to scaling, to growing your business, what's been your strategy for that?
We played it pretty conservatively. But one of the things we really wanted to make sure we had product market fit before we started selling. So it's kind of a difficult thing to define. When do I have a product that does fit the market that we're going after? It's sort of a soft concept, and I think, took a little longer to get there. And the reason was we wanted to be more conservative with the money that we had raised. So we took an entire year and a half to really sell into the market, get customer feedback, make sure our customers were renewing for their second subscription term. Once we saw that start to evolve, then we felt comfortable spending more money and expanding our go-to-market strategy and then scaling out the team in line with that. So this is in 2015, we played it a little slow. 2016 continued to play it slow, and now we're really comfortable that we have product market fit. We're accelerating spend. We just doubled down on headcount within the last quarter, so we went from 17 to 35 now. We're going to add another 20 or 25 employees this year, open up a second office for sales, and really kind of go for it from there. So we're at that point where we feel like we have product market fit, we know customers are happy, and we're ready to just put our foot on the gas.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they get really infatuated with quantity versus quality at first, and really making sure that the customers you do have, even if there aren't a lot of them, are really, really happy, and then branching out from there. Yeah. So as you mentioned, you had to hire new people. What's been your strategy for hiring good people and then keeping them? Yeah, so keeping good people to me is actually kind of the easier part. My co-founders and I were all early 30s. We came out of the corporate world, and we were also at not the lower ranks, but kind of the, staff or senior level, manager level. So we knew how we wanted to be treated when we founded the company, and so we just try to treat our employees the way we like to be treated when we're in those levels. So we have a super relaxed dress code. I don't see why you need to dress up to go to work and be efficient. I have guys who have, wearing sleeveless shirts to the office here and there, and those shoes seem to be optional occasionally, but I don't care. Awesome. I don't care because the team delivers, they execute on what they need to do. I think if you just give them freedom, if you hire great people, give them freedom, and don't put barriers in front of them and be cool, that's how you retain good talent. Yeah. Hiring is the really hard part. It's, the most important thing we've learned is reference checking, but most importantly, back channel reference checking. So the ones they put in front of you, they better all be good reference checks, the ones that are provided by the potential employee. It's the ones that you used to work at this company, okay, I know someone over there, let me reach out to them and get feedback. So go beyond the reference. Yeah, you have to go wide with it, because that's how you get the real feedback. And another one is when you're interviewing salespeople. I really like this one, is speaking to someone who bought from them.
So then they get a sense. I want to make sure we're putting good salespeople out there and that people enjoy buying from us and enjoy that experience. So whenever we're hiring someone, I ask to speak to one of your customers.
Okay. So you ask them to connect them to
Yeah, say, hey, who's the favorite deal? Who's the biggest deal you've closed so far? Great. Do you mind putting me in touch with the buying contact over there? I'd love to just chat about the experience they had. Yeah.
So when you're trying to find more customers and reaching out to more of them, what's your strategy for that?
So we decided to go the business development route up front because it's a little more expensive and it's less efficient, but the reason I like it over marketing first is because it's more repeatable and you know what you're going to get for those dollars. Now we're layering in the marketing and kind of ramping it up from there.
Makes sense. Mike, thank you so much for your time. Really great stuff. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. After this short break, more Business Rock Stars. Welcome back to Business Rock Stars. Now let's go to Mark Lack.
We've got Hannah Liu in the building. She's the CEO and founder of Onco Gambit. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about your company. What do you guys do?
So we are the software that aggregate the national guidelines.
I'm Alex Worley, and this is Business Rock Stars. Joining me, my rock star, Robert Gaskill. He's the CEO of Motive. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. So tell me, what is Motive?
Motive is a black car service that utilizes electric vehicles. Our fleet only has Teslas in them.
So cool that it only has Teslas. Why Teslas? Why did you have such a passion for Teslas and want to make your business around it?
Teslas, because it's the new innovative product on the market. Everybody wants one. Everybody wants to be seen in one. They're absolutely amazing. The cars drive themselves. Obviously, when you
have drivers, though, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I was about to say, wow.
Yes. With that technology, the cars have cameras 360 degrees around them. There's sensors and everything and safety features built into these vehicles that are absolutely perfect for the safety of our client. And then you add a trained chauffeur to that mix. Your level of service is unmatched, I believe, from any other black car service that's out there.
Yeah.
Teslas, of course, being a zero-emission vehicle, we don't use gasoline. We don't have fluids in the vehicle. There's nothing that is polluting the environment. And our clients are very much environmentally conscious. And they want to make sure, and by using our service, that they are doing good for the environment.
Yeah, part of building a brand is having values, having company values. And one of your values that really comes through when I go on your website and talk to you is sustainability, right?
Yes.
And that's something that your customers obviously really value themselves.
Absolutely.
And they get to drive in a luxurious vehicle while being sustainable, so pretty good package there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Love the story behind your company. Take me from the beginning when you were working for Morgan Freeman.
I started out very young in motion picture and TV business as a Teamster. I was 19. And my first movie that I ever worked on was City Slickers. My uncle was a transportation manager on that show at Universal Studios. And Billy Crystal was my first client. And from there...
That you would drive?
Yes, that I would drive, yes, on that show. And from there, I went from movie to movie and eventually was blessed to meet Morgan Freeman. On the set of Outbreak, I was driving Dustin Hoffman on Outbreak, but I took care of Morgan a couple times on that movie and then became his full-time driver on a movie called Seven.
I heard of it.
Yes.
I watched it.
And from there, I've been with him for 23 years.
Wow, you must be a good driver that he wanted to keep you around.
He's a good man. I think he's much more loyal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's awesome. So you had a great career as a driver, and then at some point you came up with a business idea. Tell me about that.
Yes, believe it or not, it was this time exactly last year at Super Bowl.
Okay.
3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and was thinking about wanting to step out of traveling so much for work and actually start to build a life and a business in Los Angeles and kind of stay put. Well, a natural fit for me was the transportation business. And knowing that Mr. Freeman was already loved his personal Tesla that he had, figured, well, why don't we start a black car service using Teslas, the Model S's and the Model X's, and came up with a business plan. And definitely spoke about social responsibility to clean energy and sustainable energy, and the business model for starting a black car service in Los Angeles. Of course, jumping through all of the hoops with licensing and insurance and airports, and it made things extremely difficult.
Wow.
But the fun part of it is you get to step then into marketing and advertising and actually pushing your business and getting it out there for everybody to utilize and have fun and enjoy. We just were involved with the Grammys yesterday, and one of the things that we've noticed with our Model X cars is they have the Falcon Wing doors. If you want to arrive not only in style, but actually make a statement, and not just make a statement, but scream, class, and here I am, when those doors open up, everybody stops and looks to see who's coming out of that vehicle.
So as a driver, you probably worked for another company, right?
Yes.
And then now you own your own company. So what was that transition like, working for someone else and now working for yourself? And of course, your investor, Morgan Freeman.
I have made mistakes. I have certainly made mistakes as an employee, and I've certainly made mistakes as a manager and an owner of a company. But one of the things that Mr. Freeman, even myself, say as a manager and an owner is, when you make a mistake, learn from it and move forward, because it's only going to make your business stronger. It's only going to make your employees trust you that much more. And that was one of the main things that I made sure that I brought over from the last company that I worked with, and when we started Motive, is don't lose sight of the mistakes that you've made. Make sure that you continually use them and grow from them.
Great advice. So much more when we come back with my guest, Robert Gaskill, CEO of Motive.
Hey, have you ever thought to yourself, I would like to become an entrepreneur? You can join one of the largest communities on the planet now, free. Go to cofounderslab.com. Cofounderslab.com. That's cofounderslab.com.
On 5.7 Jewel,
Joining me, Robert
FM.
And you were telling me that you have a strength when it comes to taking advantage of free resources, because you are part of an association that's been really, really helpful. Tell me about that.
I am a board member on the Greater California Livery Association, the GCLA, for the state of California. And one of the most important resources that I found early on with starting my business was there are memberships out there, groups out there of other business leaders and business owners just like me that are willing to mentor and take questions and help you through really serious processes. A good example, for instance, of the association that I'm part of, within transportation, you deal with the CHP and the DMV and the state of California, and sometimes you get audited, and new businesses that have never had those processes happen before it can be overwhelming. It can literally scare you into making some serious mistakes, and calling out and reaching out to certain memberships and associations, and having those resources in place early on, knowing you have somewhere to go, somebody to reach out to, will really help you out and show you that it's not as scary of a process to have to go through. And every single business has those particular oversights from the state and the federal government in different ways. So definitely reach out to a bigger corporation or reach out to those associations and have that in your back pocket.
So now that you are a business owner, a CEO, you're wearing a lot of hats, probably that you've worn for the first time. So what's one of the hats and roles that you have now that has proven to be maybe the most challenging?
Well, to be honest, one of the hats that I wear is I even detail the cars. I do everything from answering the phones to cleaning the cars to mopping floors and doing everything that I don't expect any of my other employees to do. I find that my relationship in life is my business. And if I don't take care of it as a part of me physically and treat it with that respect and love, I'm not going to get it back. And I feel that if I also show that level of interest, my employees pick up on that. And the business gets that back from them as well.
Yeah, they often say lead by example.
Yes.
So if you're doing all those details and the dirty work sometimes, then your employees are going to more likely do it as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, fingers crossed, exactly. So how else would you describe your leadership style?
Well, I am not a micromanager. I believe once you are trained and you're given all the tools to do your job, I need to allow you to interpret those lessons and rules and go out and be your own person and your own employee and be an individual asset, not a clone of me, but your own individual person. And you might find that in that process that one of your employees actually has something else that you've been missing that you can train all your other employees on, or even yourself. So I don't ever want to be known as somebody who micromanages or clips the wings of anybody, or I do know that I am not one that believes in shaming or arguing or disciplining employees in any way.
Have you ever had to be the enforcer there?
I'm a very empathetic individual to a fault, and I've had to step up and actually state certain things, and that's probably one of the most difficult parts of being a manager and being an owner, is knowing when to be a friend, when to be a listener, and when to be a manager.
So how have you navigated all those roles?
It's been difficult.
You're
it's
like,
been
I'm still figuring it out. Ask me next year.
Ask me next year. Yes, it's you literally have to catch yourself in the moment and know that you need to be their manager. They need leaders. They want to know that there's somebody there that they can go to that's in that management role that they can gain confidence from. And sometimes you have to pull from somewhere really deep within you to find that positive energy in a negative situation, for instance. And that's probably been the most difficult part of being an owner and a manager of a business, is finding that.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and all your insight today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for sharing the time with us, and we'll see you next time on Business Rockstars.
105.7 Buell, Idaho, FM power.
To Chapter 12, the war between the states. But the vision is to have written lives for all young eyes to see. Now it's time for us to set the record straight. For the cause, are you willing to face people filled with hate? For the cause, would you stand your ground for the Southland's fate? For the cause, won't you come along and join us in the fight and give with all your might for the cause? Do you recall how Dixie was proudly sung by all? And high school bands would play it shamelessly. But then one day our song was gone and our spirits took a fall. Gather up now, boys, let's set our anthem free. For the cause, are you willing to face people filled with hate? For the cause, would you stand your ground for the Southland's fate? For the cause, won't you come along, join us in the fight, and give with all your might for the cause. Come to speak our mind before it is too late. The politically correct have had their say. Let's make our point heard loud and clear. It's heritage, not hate. Move on forward to a brighter day. For the cause, are you willing to face people filled with hate? For the cause, would you stand your ground for the Southland state? For the cause, won't you come along and join us in the fight and give with all your might? For the cause, are you willing to face people filled with hate? For the cause, would you stand your ground for the Southland's fate? For the cause, won't you come along and join us in the fight and give with all your might for the cause?
Dixie Broadcasting, the only station in the world with a different version of Dixie every hour.
Was winter and blue Torinos
horses were freezing as they marched toward the land where they ought not to be. The valiants complained at the fighters, cursed, wheezing, and wished they'd remained on the banks of the Dee. Lead on thou, pay Captain, trample on thou, proud minions. Thy ranks, basest men, shall be strung like ripe onions. For here thou hast crowned heads with warlike opinions on shoulders of nobles who ne'er saw the Dee. Prepare for war's conflict or make preparation for peace with the rebels, for they're brave and we keep mindful of dying and leave the foundation that sends out its armies to brag and to flee. Make haste now and leave us down miscreant Tories to Scotland, repair their court, the sad Horace, and listen once more to their plaints and their stories concerning the glory and pride of the Dee. Secure and contented upon your own land, be valiant and free. Bless God that the war is so nicely prevented until the green fields on the banks of the Dee. The Devon will flow, all its beauty displaying. The lads on its banks will again be seen playing, and England thus honestly taxes defraying with natural drafts from the banks of the Dee.
I'm a-heading back to Dixie, that's the place I long to be. Where the cotton grows and the Swanee flows, that's home, sweet home to me. Where they meet you and they greet you with the sweetest how you are. Well, shut my mouth, I'm a-heading south on the Dixie Cannonball. On the Dixie Cannonball, on the Dixie Cannonball. Just listen to the whistle, it'll thrill you one and all. And I know there's someone waiting with the sweetest how you are. Well, shut my mouth, I'm heading south on the Dixie Cannonball. When I cross them Smoky Mountains, I'll be counting every mile. When the whistle blows, I'll be on my toes and I'll shuffle down the aisle. And I know I'll not be lonesome when I see them treetops tall. I'm a-coming through on the big choo-choo on the Dixie Cannonball. On the Dixie Cannonball, on the Dixie Cannonball. Just listen to the whistle, it'll thrill you one and all. And I know there's someone waiting with the sweetest how you are. Well, shut my mouth, I'm heading south on the Dixie Cannonball. Yes, I'm going back to Dixie, that's the place I long to be. Where the cotton grows and the Swanee flows, that's home, sweet home to me. Where they meet you and they greet you with the sweetest how you are. Well, shut my mouth, I'm heading south on the Dixie Cannonball. On the Dixie Cannonball, on the Dixie Cannonball. Just listen to the whistle, it'll thrill you one and all. And I know there's someone waiting with the sweetest how you are. Well, shut my mouth, I'm heading south on the Dixie Cannonball.
Fare thee well, sweet Ireland, whom I may see no more. My heart is almost bleeding to leave my native king he has commanded that we must sail away to fight the sons of liberty in North America. 'Twas the 2nd of November, just at the break of day. The Irish heroes landed, being anchored in the bay. From New York up to Kingsbridge, we boldly marched away to fight our own relations in North America. Oh Molly dear, oh Molly, mind what is written here, and when that you do read it, you can but shed a tear. As I relate my story, it would grieve your heart for sore when I tell you all the misery since we left our native shore. We marched with resolution to face the rebel crew, and boldly we attacked them, though men we had but few. They put on their grape shot, which cut our men away. With the sword they showed no quarter in North America. Through fields of blood we waded while the cannon loud did roar, and many's the gallant hero lay bleeding in his gore, and many's the bold commander who on the field did lay, that was either killed or wounded by the sons of liberty. 'Twould grieve your heart with pity to have seen the soldiers' wives lamented for their husbands and their melancholy brides, and the children crying, Mother, we surely rue the day that we came to lose our father dear in North America.
Hey, this is Matt Stevens of Copperheads. You're listening to WDXB Dixie Broadcasting, the true voice of the South.
On a march with Pastor Lee in October 63, with the tears of Bristol Station in our eyes, took a turn at Centerville, made a stand at Buckland Hills, where the rebel hill rose upward to the skies. Tramp, 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 the Buckland Hills says, tramp, 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 the day is won. Drink a health to General Stuart and the rebel boys who knew it. St. Kilpatrick and his Yankees on the run. On the road to Warrenton, Stuart's battle plans begun. Shield the army at Manassas on the moon. At a place called Chestnut Hill, the Yankees there to kill. And we sent the rest to run and ballyhoo. Tramp, 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 the button races. Tramp, 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 the day is won. Drink the health of General Stuart and the rebel boys who knew it. St. Kilpatrick and his Yankees on the run. Yankees on the run all the way to Warrenton. Keep the fire up their backsides as they flee. Once they thought they'd won the day, then they turned and ran away. When they met with General Stuart and Bobby Lee. Tramp, 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 the Buccaneers says. Tramp, 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 the day is won. Drink the health of General Stuart and the rebel boys who knew it. St. Kilpatrick and his Yankees on the run. Tramp, 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 the Buccaneers says. Tramp, 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 the day is won. Drink a health to General Stuart and the rebel boys who knew it. St. Kilpatrick and his Yankees on the run.
Stopped off at Baker's store for marching off to war. Heard that they were giving a soldier's ball. Yeah, I saw her standing there, blue eyes and golden hair, and decided that I might not be shy after all. Then she smiled at me, so innocent and sweet. I knew that I had to ask that girl to dance. Her face flushed deep red. She turned to me and said that she'd love to and was waiting for a chance. Oh, my old sock girl, hair all golden and full of curls, that seemed to dance behind her as she walks around the room. She doesn't have a care, heart is pure as mountain air. Oh, my old sock girl, I'm in love with you. Summer soon turned to fall, and there were no more balls. The whole country was involved, caught up in the war. But I still found the time, somehow make her mine, and I miss that girl like I never had before. I rode with Captain Reeves in the 50th Cavalry. We vowed to fight only near our homes. One day he found the time to hold a wedding in the pines, and I finally made her mine and left to fight the Yanks. Oh, my old sock girl, hair all golden and full of curls, that seemed to dance behind her as she walks around the room. She doesn't have a care, heart is pure as mountain air. Oh, my old sock girl, I'll be home real soon. I'll be home real soon. I'll be home real soon.
Early flags marching along, the rifles in her hand,
Buttons on hot coats. Lost the sound. Though we tried 9,000 deaths. And to see her occupied. Took her vote. Burnt the courthouse down. Yanked the carpet back. Came to town. Paid the tax. Debt we owe. Now they're living in a home. Look what they've done. If I'd known the way it'd be, never surrender. Robert E. Lee, off Southland. Though we tried 9,000 deaths. And to see her occupied. Look what they've done. Look what they've done. Look what they've done. Look what they've done.
Hi, this is Heidi, and you're listening to my favorite Southern station, Dixie Broadcasting.
Perhaps no one was more haunted by that war than the mothers of those who fought it and did not come home. For if you have buried a son, as I have, if you have put him away into the dark earth, away from the sun that nurtured him, the breeze that ruffled his hair, if you have buried his sweet smile and lilting song, then you have buried yourself, and are there now in that cold, dark, lonely place, embracing, holding, clinging, entwined in all that is left of this haunting life for you. And then you know, as I do, that you must dwell therein forever.
Burning you so hot it blazed, so promising its flame. It promised me much more than this. I line their purse with gold and leave their aged father's home with no more joy to Oh, let me now protect you, son, as ever I have done. Put aside the sharpened bayonet, lay down your sword and gun. A hiding place I'll make for you, where safe you'll always be. But youthful ears refuse to hear what young eyes will not see. Oh, burning youth, it haunts me now, and ever haunt me will. He marched away with other sons into the battlefields, and now he lies in some far grave unmarked, forever gone, leaving me alone with empty heart and memories of one.
By my faith, but I think you're all makers of bulls with your brains and your breeches, your arse and your skulls. Get home with your muskets and put up your swords and look in your books for the meaning of words. You see now, my honeys, how much you're mistaken, for concord by discord can never be beaten. How brave ye went out with your muskets all bright, and longed to befrighten the foes with a sight. But when you got there, how they powdered your palms, and all the way home, how they peppered your bums. And is it not, honeys, a comical gripe to be grabbed in the face and be shot in the back? As smartly as you. You see now, my honeys, there's nothing at all but to pull out the trigger and pop goes the ball. And what have you got now with all your designing but a town without pedals to sit down and dine in, and to look on the ground like a parcel of mules and sing how the Yankees have beaten the duels. I'm sure if you're wise, you'll make peace for a dinner, for fighting and fasting will soon make you thinner.
up, America, won't you see? We're all being ruled by one family. We've been bushwhacked. Oh, we've been bushwhacked. From Austin up to D.C. Don't forget the Prince of Tallahassee. We've been bushwhacked. Yeah, we've been bushwhacked. America sings, the land of the free. The whole world is watching, and what they see is a monarch and his sons, the terrible three. Wake up, America, tell me what you see.